Sup? This is a short one. This is for the final boss battle, Bon and Elaine. This is season 6 of the final boss battle. Hell difficulty is a hard pass. Even doing this on other difficulties, I would consider that to be a soft pass. You know, just get what you need out of the shop and just move on. You know, my intention is just to get the equipment and graving stones and just move on. The reason why I'm saying these things is because the stamp costs to do these stages have remained the same, but the amount of tokens you get are less. Before, at a gold box on hard difficulty, you would get like 13, and then it was 10 for silver, and then I forgot what it was for bronze. But you're getting less tokens for the same amount of stamina costs spent. And it's like this for all the stages. Like what we're seeing here, this looks like what you would have gotten for the hard difficulty. 10, 13, 16. This is the amount of tokens you would have gotten for hard difficulty. And then it's the same thing for hell difficulty, which costs 50 stamina to do, but you only getting 20, 25, 30. This looks like what you would have gotten for extreme difficulty. So they've lowered the amount of tokens you get, but they kept the stamp cost the same to do the stages. And wait, there's more. When you do go to the shop, now that I'm revisiting it again in this video, all the prices for the items have essentially remained the same. There's only one item in here that looks like they may have adjusted it, and that's the Hammer of Visor. I could be wrong on that as well. It could be the same price. But the costume is the same, the weapon is the same, and the cosmetic is the same. Engraving stone is the same. Treasure chest is the same. Water of Life, Demon's Blood, the evolved materials, and the awakened stone is all the same. They're all the same price as they were before in previous final boss battle shops. But now they're simply giving you less tokens for the same amount of stamina cost for each of these battles on their respective difficulty. That's cancer. That's bullshit. Also, too, what makes these fights bullshit is that they had to go out of their way to make these NPC enemies overpowered. And they had to go out of their way to make other heroes in your roster with toolkits to do this fight impotent. I talked about that in another fight. I'm sorry, another fight. I talked about that in another post regarding Tau Trial Season 2. You know, I talk about them contriving and making these fights, these enemies are just contriving, just making up bullshit for these fights. I talked about that in other posts over a period of time. And this is what they're doing in this final boss battle. And it seems like this is what they'll be doing for all of their supposedly challenging or competitive or in-game content. It's cancer. It's bullshit. And it's not worth your time to play. And honestly, I wouldn't even go around building heroes for these boss battles anymore. Because it's just a waste of time, waste of your resources. Because you're only going to use them because they have to go out of their way to contrive, out of way contrivances for these battles, and out of their way handicaps to apply to heroes in your roster to make them impotent. It's, they're just making up shit. They're just pulling shit out of their ass and they're making up bullshit in order to keep their fights from being a joke. And how that affects the players is that it just turns into them wasting your time with all of the effort that they want you to put into building these heroes, because they're just going to come up and make a bullshit ass fight where they contrive such extremities of overpowerness for the NPC enemies and contrive such extremities of handicaps to make your heroes impotent that all the heroes that they want you to build, you won't even be able to use them later on, because they would have made sure that they won't work unless they made sure they won't work in favor of whatever heroes they are currently releasing for said in-game content or final boss battle or competitive, whatever you want to call it. And these are the heroes that they're promoting for this final boss battle, which is proven by the fact that when you go to the rankings and you see the heroes that are being used for the high ranking scores. Valenti and Mono, Valenti, Mono and Valenti. There's a slight variation in some cases, but it's essentially the same heroes. All that combined is the reason why doing this on hell difficulty is a hard pass and doing this on the other difficulties is a soft pass, because to sum it up in one word, this fight is cancer.